Welcome back to a Tuesday edition of Running Point presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. There's no sense of doing the split screen because, as you can see, Anthony's not here today. He's only here Monday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, so you don't need a split screen. Now you can see all of me, which is probably not a good thing. Hopefully nobody's eating because, you look at me, your appetite will be gone pretty quickly. I can promise you that. Speaking of someone whose appetite is never gone, he is the manager of the YSU baseball team. He is Dan Bertolini, and he joins me on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. Skip, what goes?
Oh, just enjoying the beautiful weather we're having.
Oh yeah, it's I'm promised 5 to 8 inches of snow. I wake up with about a half an inch of ice. Yeah, that took me about a half an hour to get all the ice off the car. And then I go back to many years ago, having lived in South Florida, and every year at this time I question my sanity why I moved back home in the dead of winter.
Yeah, I totally understand where you're coming from there. You wake up and you're like, what the heck is going on?
Yeah, this isn't baseball weather, but you are going to go to an area that is going to have baseball weather this weekend, although it might be a little chilly on Friday. Temps in the mid-upper 50s and low 60s on Saturday and Sunday. That's damn good weather considering where we are and what we've had to deal with.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We'll be ready. And temperature's all relative, so 45, our guys will be feeling pretty good compared to what we're dealing with today. So we'll be ready to go. Looking forward to a good weekend. Looks like no rain or anything, so weather looks good.
Dan, let's talk a little bit about your preparations. I mean, obviously, it's with the fact that the season last year was cut after 14 games. A lot of angst, a lot of stuff in the last spring into the summer, carry it into the fall, and you guys have had a lot of time to work and to try to get all of the bad taste out of your mouth of having just 14 games. There's light at the end of the tunnel, and I would imagine there's a lot of guys that are super excited to finally get back to doing what they want to do.
Oh yeah, 100%. We're excited to get started. I know a lot of our our players are chomping at the bit. Getting the season canceled like it was, and we're excited to get out there and see what all the hard work we've put in over the last really 8 months. Just trying to get ourselves prepared and ready to go and play some outside competition.
How difficult is it for you to gauge how much work and how much progress you guys have had when you don't get an opportunity to play much baseball?
Yeah, I mean it's challenging. It's just the last couple of years we were able to play some teams in the fall and get a chance to see kind of where you're at a little bit. Where now it's just we've been going against each other for a long period of time. So but we try to do our best to make it game simulated and play games and make it challenging for our players so they're prepared when we get out there and go play somebody else. It's very similar to football or any other sport where you don't get any preseason games. You're just going out there and kind of see what you got opening weekend.
Dan Bertolini joining me on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. All right, so you guys are going to go to Troy, Alabama. You play a single game on Friday, doubleheader on Saturday, single game on Sunday. Everything is pretty much in order. You know who's going to be making the trip. Let's talk about who's going to be towing the slab for the Penguins in these first 4 games of the season.
Well, we're pretty fortunate. This is the deepest our pitching staff has ever been, especially from the starting pitching standpoint. So we're fortunate. We got Colin Clark is going to go on Friday. Colin Floyd will be game 1 on Saturday. Travis Perry will be game 2 on Saturday, and John Snyder, will be game 4 of the series. So those 4 guys there's basically the same rotation that we started last year. The guys got a ton of experience. They've had really good winters. A couple guys that kind of mixed into that role that could see some extended time. Probably Matt Borowski and and Nick Perez, who's a freshman. Those two guys have done a really nice job, and we'll kind of piggyback some of the starts this weekend just to get, in case someone can't go more than 50 or 60 pitches. Those guys are there to back them up.
Let's talk about your bullpen in general. I mean, there's a lot of talent on this YSU baseball team. You've mentioned the starters, but the starters, it's solid, very experienced. But you got some returning guys, a lot of really quality arms returning in that bullpen of yours.
Yeah, this is Coach Davis calls it the law firm. The four guys that have been really our workhorses in the back end of the bullpen. With Gary Clift and Joel Hake, those are two guys they put up some phenomenal numbers last spring. Holding guys to under a 1 ERA, and then you add in Chad Coles and Dalton Eric. Those guys have really done a nice job for us. They pitch in huge innings. So those four guys are the most experienced, our veteran bullpen, and then. I think Nate Ball has been a guy. He's a freshman, redshirt freshman that has really done a nice job for us. Left-handed, provides us some left-handed relief out of the bullpen. I can see him mixing into that late game back end area. He's been really strong in the winter. He was probably up to 91, 92 from the left side, and can get some guys out. So hopefully we'll add him in that mix, and we'll be pretty strong on the back end, and then some guys in our bullpen that can add some middle relief with the two extra starters, and Andrew Russell, Kenny Missick, those guys are going to kind of mix in that middle relief area.
Dan, how do you get everybody to be fresh? I mean, you're going to have 4 games right out of the chute, and I would imagine that everyone that's going to be making the trip this weekend, unless they're banged up, I would imagine that everyone gets a little bit of playing time this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, you're trying to do your best to win. You're gonna try to put guys in the best situation. But yeah, I mean, I would catching is a position that you're not going to probably catch your starting catcher 4 games in a weekend. We'll have to be really strategic with our substitutions. We are deep, and we want to get guys some opportunities to get in there. So. Just trying to schedule things out, figure out when it works, and then really the pitching depends on how they perform. Sometimes if you're early in the weekend, you get pulled early. It puts a lot of pressure on the rest of your staff. It can put pressure on the rest of your starters because sometimes you just have to say you got to go eat one and go throw your 100 pitches no matter kind of what the results are to get us through to the next guy or the next game. In 4 games is challenging, but I think we're good. We're really so good on the mound that hopefully those kind of problems don't happen very often.
Dan Bertolini, he's the manager of the YSU baseball team. He joins me on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. And as much talent as you have on the mound, you have that and more with your everyday lineup. There's a lot of talent in your everyday lineup, Skip.
Yeah, I would agree. I think this is definitely the most versatile our offense has been as far as we have really anyone from top to bottom of our lineup can go ahead and steal a base. They can all bunt. We can move the ball around. We have some guys that can really drive the baseball out of the park, and there's complete buy-in from this group about just trying to do your job, whether it's moving a runner, whether it's getting a bunt down, whether it's hitting a ground ball with runners on second and third and picking up free RBIs, like just trying to score runs in any way we can. And I'm excited to see that next step in the maturity level for our offense. I think the guy that's really was kind of quiet last year that I think could have a breakout year is Blaze Glenn. I mean, he's been one of our best players over the course of his time here. He's been our most productive guy. He's got 20 home runs in his career. He's hit over, I think he had 320 his sophomore year here. Been very productive, lots of RBIs. He got off to a slow start last year, but he's had a tremendous offseason, and I'm looking for him to have a really good year and kind of be that guy to really push our offense over the top.
Dan, one of the things that I really love about this team is you have guys that have no problem going up to the plate. They have a plan. They're going to be battling. at the very least, you're going to be seeing a lot of pitches. Guys are going to be fighting off pitches. You have guys that rarely strike out. I mean, you'll get some strikeouts, but you have guys that are not going to be striking out a high percentage of time. They're going to put the ball in play, and that's all you can ask for at this level, because you want to be able to put all the pressure on the opposing defense at this level to make sure that they make plays. So if you're not striking out, you're pretty much doing the best you can to keep the train rolling on offense.
Yeah, I mean, the goal for all of our hitters is to have quality at bats, and there's a bunch of different ways to do that. But the easiest way is to hit the ball hard. Anytime you hit the ball hard, that's going to be a quality at bat for us. Move a runner with less than 2 outs. You move some guys around, you get a quality at bat. You get an 8-pitch at bat, that's a quality at bat. You get to a full count after you've had 2 strikes, quality at bat. So there's a lot of ways to continue to have, that's what we're really focused on, is every time we're up there being a tough out and having quality at bats, not giving any of our at bats away. You only get so many in a year. If you can just find a way to improve on 15, 20, 25 at bats a year, out of your 200, you can find a way to positively impact your batting average, your on base percentage. You're going to help us as a team, and if all of our guys can do that and be about 15 to 20 at bats better than they were the year before, we can be in a really good spot.
One of the things that we have certainly talked about in this offseason is the versatility of your everyday players. You have guys that can not only play the infield, but can also play the outfield. And that versatility, it'll be on full display early on in the season as everyone tries to learn their roles, I would imagine.
Yeah, I mean, Jeff Whaler's a guy that's going to play a little bit of both. He'll probably play maybe a game in the outfield a weekend and play second base. Blaze Glenn will have some DH and play some third base. Trey Law, Brandon Shaughnessy, those guys are versatile. He can play any of the infield spots. So, yeah, I mean, they're, especially with a limited roster, with smaller travel roster size, you want guys that can play multiple positions. So if we do have to make a change, you got a pinch hit, you got a pinch run, you can put guys in spots and they can move around either in the infield or the outfield. So it gives us some versatility there and some options, to make moves when we need them.
And let's break down this outfield, because you got a couple of guys out there that can get after it defensively. I know that Nassaro, the young kid from Hubbard, is quite the gifted center fielder defensively.
Oh, Lucas Nassani?
Yeah, Nassani. I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right.
Yep. He's a champion. He was on the state championship team from Champion. Yeah,
I'm 0 for 2 today, Coach. I'll be sitting on the bench here for a while.
That's okay. Yeah, I mean, our outfield is as good as any outfield in the Horizon League, and probably any outfield that we're going to play. I mean, Don Bucko is a second center fielder out there. I mean, if we didn't have Luke, Don would be our center fielder. He can really play. He's got a rocket arm. So he's a guy that's key to our outfield success. Between him and Luke and Turner Graw. Turner's our fastest player. It's borderline either between him or Phil, but they're extremely fast. They cover a lot of ground. That's a no-fly zone out there. The ball does not drop. They go make plays. Lucas is by far one of the best center fielders I've seen. He will be, I think, the best defensive center fielder in the league. I just like watching those guys take batting practice in the outfield. I just like the way that they track fly balls. And they didn't get like that because they're gifted, but they get like that because they work. They work tirelessly in practice about, their footwork, their jump, their first step. And then, the only way you get better is by doing it. And they just, when we're outside, they make some tremendous plays. Sometimes I have to tell them to take it easy because they're like the dog when you just throw the ball out there and they're just running around. You gotta ease them into it sometimes, but they make some tremendous plays out there.
Well, obviously, I mean, you got to have a solid defensive center fielder, and you got jackrabbits out there that can get after it, and you got some young kids that are going to be looking for some playing time, and I would imagine some of those young kids once they start getting their feet wet, they're going to be taking a cue from the starters and trying really hard to get after it on defense like the starters are.
Yeah. I mean, I think we're deep in the outfield. I mean, Blake Benio's a guy that is a really plus defender. Who can play all three outfield spots. We have Andre Good, who will get some opportunities out there. He had probably the best opening game of your entire college career that you could have. Hit 2 home runs. First pitch you ever saw, he hit a home run in Houston, then hit the go-ahead home run again, game-winning home run against Houston. So he's going to get some opportunities out there. I think Chase Franken at some point will get some opportunities to kind of work out there. I think he's got some speed and some ability. So it's just been tough. We haven't been outside, really. I mean, like with actual off the bat fly balls. So that's always the toughest part for our outfielders is that you're going to go into game one and you haven't seen a ball off the bat in the outfield. So I know Eric Smith does his best to get our outfielders prepared with the drawer, but that's probably the biggest adjustment is going from inside and doing some tennis ball and footwork drills to going out and being full go in a game.
Is that the biggest in terms of everything in the game of baseball? Put everything into its context. When you go outside, is that the biggest adjustment needed? The fact that the outfielders need to know, okay, where am I going once the ball is off a certain part of the bat? Is that the biggest adjustment with everything? Everything, all things being equal in baseball, when you're inside to going outside, is that the biggest adjustment, Skip?
Yeah, I would say so. Just spacing and timing and that kind of stuff, because it's and in years past you might be a little bit more concerned, but our outfield's old and veteran, and this isn't their first go around of this, so they've been through this. And then I go back to last year and to 2019 where our outfielders played phenomenally early in the season. We opened up at Mississippi State and they made 5 or 6 amazing catches diving. So as much as I think maybe it affects them, it doesn't seem to have that big of an impact on them when they get out there. So I think if we can get it, we're going to get a good day of practice in at Troy on Thursday night, and that'll give us our first kind of opportunity to kind of see the field and be out on the baseball field and go run around and catch some balls.
Let's talk a little bit about your opponent, Troy, coming out of the Sun Belt Conference, if I'm not mistaken. Let's talk a little bit about this team. What is this team all about, Skip?
Well, they've had a lot of success in the past. They've been a good program. I think they got picked second or third in their side of the Sun Belt. They've had some really good pitching. Their Friday night guy got drafted pretty early in the draft last year. So they're going to bring back 3 guys that started games for them last year. They got a freshman. They have a ton of freshmen on their roster this year. They got some power. They got 2 guys that were preseason top 20 players at their position. Their shortstop is Frederick. He's a really good player. Hit 409 last year. He's got some pop. And their catcher is Bartolero. He was a preseason. I think he was picked 3rd team preseason All-American by D1 Baseball. So they're going to have a solid core behind the plate, and that's really where you start, up the middle of the field. So they'll be well coached. They'll be talented. It'll be a great challenge for us. They have some power. They hit a lot of home runs. I think the ball flies a little bit down there in Troy. So we're looking forward to for that opportunity. Looks like they've, as a group, they hit. It's going to be kind of our strength versus their strength. They hit pretty well against left-handed pitching last year. So we'll have to see who kind of plays out in that situation. But good program and looking forward to getting out and getting to compete against them.
One of the things I love about Youngstown State and what you guys have done in the last few years as far as scheduling goes, Yeah, it's easy to sit back and say, okay, we're going to have a game against an elite team in the Southeastern Conference. And, a couple of years ago was Mississippi State. This year it's going to be Louisiana State University. But you guys are also there to challenge mid-major schools that are on the cusp of being a top 64 or a super regional caliber baseball team. And it's those games that I think you get a much bigger gauge on where Youngstown State is when you're taking on the Troys of the world, the Nichols States of the world. Last year, the College of Charleston was one of those schools that I thought was a brilliant decision by Youngstown State scheduling them, because like Youngstown State, mid-major, and they're on the cusp of being a top 64, a possible super regional caliber team if everything falls into play. So I think the first 2 weekends, the fact you guys are going to be playing mid-majors, really good mid-majors, in Troy and Nichols State, I think that's going to provide a much bigger gauge on what our team is going to be looking like in comparison to the 2 games you play against LSU.
Yeah, I mean, we're trying to prepare ourselves to play in a competitive conference and win a conference championship and hopefully play well in the NCAA tournament. And so everybody that we're going to play, we're there to challenge ourselves and make us better. And as well as, we want to compete against the best teams in the country. And Troy's one of those programs. Baseball is different than any other sport, really. Maybe NCAA college basketball. But for the most part, any team in any conference can find a way to get to Omaha. We've seen it happen with mid-majors with Kent and Stony Brook got to the College World Series. I mean, Coastal Carolina is a non-Power 5 that won a national title. So, there's a lot of schools that are really good at baseball that might not be national brands, but are really good at baseball. So we just try to play. I'll play anyone, anywhere. We are excited to get a chance to play really tough competition, and Troy's one of those teams. And we've really, since I've been here, we've tried to challenge ourselves with Power 5s and really good mid-major programs that do things the right way and give us a look at what we're going to be competing against in the Horizon League.
Dan, when are you guys scooting out of town?
We leave Thursday. I think our flight gets out of here about 3:15 out of Cleveland.
All right, best of luck to you this weekend, and look forward to getting a recap on what happened this weekend when we next meet and talk on Tuesday.
That sounds great. Let's hope for some great weather and some great baseball. And just happy to be back. Happy for baseball to be back.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I could have definitely used the before the season starts breakfast, but with COVID, we got to throw that stuff out. Hopefully next year we'll have a meet the team breakfast and better days ahead with that. But it's baseball time. Let's get after it, Skip.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, take care.
All right, talk to you soon.
Dan Bertolini, he's the manager of the YSU baseball team, as the YSU baseball team will venture into Troy, Alabama. They'll play a night game Friday night. It'll be chilly. Oh, it will be chilly down there on Friday night. Doubleheader on Saturday and a single game on Sunday.